Well, hey everybody. Mabon blessings to all today as we celebrate the second harvest of the year. It's the 22nd day of September. The sun moves into Libra. We have at 11 something. Let me look and see. 11:19. We have the autumn equinox, fall equinox. At the same time that the sun moves into Libra, day and night will be even. You can do a ritual at that time. I'm Jan Erickson anyway, and this is As Above, So Below. So, hope you had a good weekend. Let's see what we have. We have Kenaz. Now, Kenaz is the sixth rune of the Elder Futhark. It's found in so many different runes. Gebo, Othala, Dagaz, Ingus, Lagu skewed. It'd be in Manaz. It would be, well, more like Lagus forward and reverse in Ewaz. Tiwaz, it's in that. Birkenau, Alyes, Sawillo. Perthrow, kind of. I was in a skewed fashion. Yera, let's see, not these. Well, maybe in a skewed fashion. Hagalaz, Vunio, Rado, Thurazaz. It's found in just about all of the Elder Futhark runes. And it means the torch. And I view that as the light of spirit. It's about illumination and awakening and revelation and healing, well-being, love, intuition, transformation. But it's about expressing the light of spirit without, essentially. And then if it's, depending on the direction, it can mean within or receiving or projecting downward, however you want to see that. But we start out in the light today for a Monday. Let's see what the Geomancy rune does to upset that apple cart. Well, yeah, okay, we have cursor, like I said. Well, there went one on the floor. Well, that's okay, I'll get it later. So cursor is the opposite or complement of conjunctio. Conjunctio looks like a little hourglass. It means union or joining. Whereas cursor looks more like a little bird cage. So it's about self-imprisonment. The imprisonment that remaining imprisoned by perception, by ego, by desire, by things that are not higher vibratory. It's the reactionary side of self on steroids with cursor. And cursor is thought to be let me get this here. Cursor is thought to be an evil rune, if you will, because it's so negative and it's so self-affirming, essentially, but on the ego side of things. And so again, it looks like a little ampule or a little bird cage. So it's that self-imprisonment that the only answer to that is to live in the light and to live in that higher vibratory area of the soul, which you are, versus the ego, which is just the physical manifestation. And the challenge that we face, the soul faces every single moment of every single day, to try to have everything on the soul side as much as possible, be in that observational, non-judgmental type of place versus reacting to everything all over the place and becoming caught up in all of that drama. And being unable to release from it, So you have really opposite sides of the coin here with the runes today, which is always fun on a Monday, isn't it? But again, it's expressing the light of spirit, so don't get caught up today in the goings-on of the massive egos that are in play these days. Okay, so sometimes I think, unless I pull Major Arcana cards, which I did not. I have one from the Suit of Pentacles, one from Swords, and one from Wands. I said last time I can't forget to do the, let's see, this is 9, 22 to 025. I said I was going to do the numerology last Thursday, and it ended up being 3, and I put that in the reading notes, and I totally forgot to do it. So anyway, let's do this now, so I don't forget. So we have 6 for Kenaz. We have the 4 of Pentacles, the 9 of Swords, and the 7 of Wands. That's 26. 2 and 6 are 8, and so we're looking at an 8 overall numerology for the reading. So that's inner strength. And yeah, if you're feeling caught up in the drama, if you can't release yourself from perceptions that really are more ego-based than anything else, then it's going to take that inner strength to release yourself from those bonds that are self-imposed to begin with. So and to embrace the light of spirit and express that outward in your life here going forward. And I've said before that realistically, the challenge of the Geomancy rune has to do with the physical reality and the ego side of self, and how much that is present in your reactions and in your experiences, right? And so when you look at this, and you look at the cards, they're giving the details of that realistically, unless you're looking at some major arcana cards here, which are soul archetype. And today, of course, we don't have those. Let's start with the 4. 4 is about foundation and structure. It's about grounding, pragmatism, diligence, things like that, reliability. But here you have the king with his back to the kingdom. And this card can be read in a variety of ways, but you look at the dual line here, separating him from his kingdom behind. He's stepping on his coins. He's holding one fast to his chest with both arms, and he's displaying one proudly on top of his crown. So you can look at this as hanging on to his wealth. Now, that can mean a conservative approach to things, to money management, to where you're not spending, and you're saving. It could mean something like that. But when you're talking about Carcer and this idea of self-imprisonment and the choice to hang on to perceptions that you may think serve you, but in the long run, in terms of the collective aspect of self, they don't. They're more based on reaction and ego than and not at all on higher self. And here with the 4, you can also look at this as being miserly, especially considering his back is to the kingdom. So, I mean, in one sense, you could say need a loan to buy a house or a loan to buy a car, and the bank won't loan it to you because they're going to hang on to their money, right? The guy that, the CEO of the bank says, no, we're going to hang on to it. We're not going to give it to anybody. It could be something like that where you're not able to do it and there's no reason for it, right? You have good credit. There should be no reason you wouldn't get a loan because the powers that be have decided, well, you're not going to, It could be something like that. Or it could be hanging on to your possessions, to your wealth, at the expense of other people, expense of your family. Maybe you're the one that's spending all the money, and the rest of the family isn't being provided for. So there's a sense of him being alone with it, with the kingdom behind him, completely separate from him. And so there could be someone in authority that you're experiencing that with, where the money is all for him and not for anybody else. Okay, so there could be that kind of thing going on, and your life could be impacted by it. The kingdom itself could be impacted by the decisions, the money decisions, by the powers that be. So there could be that. Here, though, we have the 9 of Swords. Now, there's order in this card, even though it's waking up from a nightmare. You see order with the quilt here. You see order with the sword. Swords is the air element, whereas Pentacles is the earth element. So here you have intellect. You have communication, balance, justice, legal issues, truth versus deception. But here he's waking up from the nightmare that is just pressing down on him with all the weight of the swords hooked together, pressing down upon him. And you see the here it looks like you have roses here on the quilt, but there's order here. And you can think of this also in terms of 9. You're looking at endings and completion. You're looking at spirituality and generosity. But the idea here is maybe the end to the nightmare. You look at the 10 of Swords, and you see the guy on the ground, and the water out beyond him. He's got 10 swords piercing his back, but his face is turned to the light. And so here you have, it's why it's helpful to know what order these cards are in, because the next one is saying that the night is lifting. There's no more perception anymore. He's let go of all of it because he's dead, theoretically, right? Let go of everything, right? And he's turned his face to the light that's returning, to the light of truth, to the kenaz of the moment, right? And so here he's awakened from all this, the pressure of all these perceptions, the nightmare of all of them that's keeping him in a place theoretically of his own choosing, mind you, and he could choose something else. And so in the next card, the 10 of Swords, he's making that choice, right? But right now he's just getting his ducks in a row. He sees it all for what it is. He realizes the nightmare that it is, and he's ready to move on then into the 10. I mean, it's not listed here, but it's not here in the reading, but that's the implication. And then here, we could have actually probably put this in the center, but here we have the 7 of Wands, where you have a guy standing up on top of a hill, and he's defending himself. He's defending his creative ideas. He's defending against all of this, the 6 other staffs coming in upon him there from the ground, from below. And so he's gotten above it all, and he's trying to defend his ideas. But, when you look at the difference between kenaz and karser, there's no way to really do that. If they're based on perception, then they're not based on truth. Because perception and truth might be the same, but all too often they're not. And so whatever personal belief structures you have that keep you in this prison of your own making, they're yours to make. Right, you could choose something else, something that's more higher vibrational, it's more higher self-oriented, more soul-oriented, more kenaz-oriented, expressing the light of spirit outward in your intentions and in your perceptions, and instead of being in a situation where you're reacting with the ego and you're reacting with the isms of life, like racism and sexism and things like that. Where you don't see people as the other side of self, you see them as the other, and therefore the enemy, right, of your own belief structures. Instead of allowing people and saying, you know what, this is what I believe, but you guys can believe whatever you want, and we're still friends, we're still family, we're whatever. But here, I think when you're looking at hanging on to things very tightly, in this case it's money, but it can also represent what is valuable to you, and your beliefs and your perceptions are what's valuable to you. How you see the world is what's valuable to you, and that's what has the value. The problem is that the weight of it is going to be too much at some point, because you'll be confronted with too much truth, with too much light from kenaz, from other people. And it's just too much. You're having to defend too much that really in the end doesn't make any sense for you. And at some point you're going to realize that, and defending yourself against, your ideas here, trying to find some kind of balance, probably is not going to happen if everything stays karser based, and you can't allow the light to come in and illuminate the truth for you. Let's do one more card. I feel like I'm missing something here. It feels like I need to have a card where it tells you the direction to go. So I've cut the deck, taken the lower half. I'm going to take the 13th card. Here we have the 10 of Cups. Here we have a young family. The kids are dancing. Again, you've got the line here separating them here from maybe the new home they've purchased or established for themselves. Here you have a rainbow with 10 chalices, 10 cups in that. Now we have all suits that represent all four elements here in the reading. 10 is about new beginnings. It's about it can also be about endings and beginnings, the end of one phase and the beginning of another. If you terminate the ends of the Roman numeral 10 there, you've got the rune Dagaz, which you can do a Dagaz ritual today when the in about less than an hour here, when the equinox happens, where you experience the end of one level of light and the beginning of the new level of darkness. So that moment of transition, where daylight and nighttime are the same. Those hours are roughly the same, and but it's the beginning of one phase, or the end of one phase and the beginning of another. And if you let go of perceptions that no longer serve, if you stop defending them, in fact, I'm going to put this in the center, and we'll start over here. So here we're hanging on tightly to what we value. Here we're defending what our creativity, our beliefs, whatever, to everyone below. We're getting above it all, which is a difference. There you're looking at maybe being able to see things a little more clearly. You realize the weight of them on your shoulders, of perceptions that don't serve any longer. And when you let go of that and you live in the light, then you can come together in harmony and unity and emotional fulfillment and security that you didn't have before. In truth, it's a new day for you if you let go of perceptions that no longer serve, that are really, again, more about reaction and seeing yourself as separate from the rest of humanity. Instead of seeing everything as the other side of self, you see everything as the other, and that's a very different thing. And the Carcer experience will reinforce that. It's self-reinforcing, it's self-affirming. On the ego side of things, you want to be self-affirming on the higher self side of things, but all too often we function on the ego side, where we feel justified to feel the way that we do, and to have such hate and anger in your heart for other people that really, I mean, they're not doing anything to you, they're just existing in the world. I saw a thing where the this morning online, where I think he's the writer or the director or the creator or whatever of the show The Bear, and he got taken off a train because a couple of older women didn't like the way he was sitting. And he's a black man, and they apparently didn't like the way he was sitting, and so they go and they ask the conductor. I don't know what kind of a thing this was, if it was a train or what it was, but they said conductor, so it must have been, and they took him off, and the authorities were called, and they took him away. I mean, they released him because he wasn't doing anything, right? But just existing in the world. But they saw him as the other instead of the other side of self. They saw him with hate instead of love, and suspicion instead of, just going about your life and having your conversation between yourselves, and leave this poor man alone, right? They had no idea who he was, obviously, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway, evidently. So, but that's an example of getting into it with people and demanding things of them that it's not your business and not your place. And that comes from this Carcer experience of holding on to beliefs that are just ego-based, and they're not based in truth, and certainly not based in higher truth. Instead of just letting it all go and not even seeing him, just continue having your own conversation together. But oh no, they had to impact this man's life, who was literally doing nothing but sitting there, and try to get him in trouble, And so now he's got to deal with all this. And it's the emotion of it, the experience of it, whatever he's got to do now. Does he have to do something legally? Maybe not, because they released him. But good Lord, wouldn't you want to sue somebody over that? I would. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you talking to me? Why are you having anything? I don't know you. Leave me alone. And it's this hanging on to to racism or sexism or whatever isms they happen to be, uh, uh, nationality issues, all of it. It's like seeing somebody that doesn't look like you, and therefore they're the bad people, and then you want to do something harmful to them. The only person that's bad then is you. And so it's an interesting place because that's what's happening in society right now. And so so the moral of the story is realize the weight that perceptions can place on you and keep you in this place that where you cannot be in unity and harmony and in love with other people and in the light with other people. It prevents you, and it's a choice that you make. There's nothing keeping you there. Let the light in, let it illuminate the truth of those things, and then let them go. Feel the weight and say, I've had enough. I'm awake now. I'm not, I can't take this pressure anymore because I'm living a lie. I'm not living in truth. I'm living in a lie, you see. And then in the end, you find your emotional fulfillment, you see, here with the new day dawning on you. A whole new world opens up, you see, when you live in the light versus living in the darkness of the prison of self, self-imprisonment with carcer. It's not a good place to be. And again, it keeps you from the emotional fulfillment that you could have and the happiness and joy and success that you could have in your life. So I think it's cool that I ended up drawing a 10 card, and it was this one in particular, although I kind of wish that it was the 10 of Swords, so you could see that transition between, in fact, maybe I can find it here really quick. See if I can find it. We had it just the other day. See, because here, right before that, you have the 8, the self-imprisonment of the thoughts that she has. She has to turn off the noise around her to find the truth. It takes some inner strength to do that. And surely, to let go of perceptions that you shouldn't have in the first place, that are ego-based, it's going to take a lot of inner strength. But here's the 10, see? And you can see his face is turned toward the light. Where the final, he's realized the weight of it all, and now he's let it go, and his face is turned to the light. You see, so that's what I was talking about, and so it does help to know the order of the cards when you're looking at tarot. But ideally, again, what we do to ourselves with perception, we're lying to ourselves a lot of the time. And if you can't let go of them, then you really are imprisoned in this little self-imposed cage that you've put around yourself. And the only answer to that is the light, is letting the light in and to illuminate all of it and to see the truth, to see the deception and understand all of it, and then reorder yourself. And again, with the 8 numerology for the reading, if you add, let's see, 10 reduces to 1, so that would be 9 at that point with the 4th card. Again, endings and completion. Put an end to it. Because the only way that we come together is to come together and to see a brother or a sister instead of the other that we're looking at, and saying, okay, I'm not like you. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're all alike. We really are. We all want the same stuff. We want to be happy. We want to feel safe and secure. If we have children, we want them to grow up in that type of a world. We want the same things. It's just somebody has decided to say, oh, no, us versus them. That's a fallacy. It's always been a fallacy. So anyhow, that's it. That's it for a Monday. What a way to start the week. On this day, on this equinox day, during this Mabon time. Mabon was the son of an earth goddess, a Welsh earth goddess. I can't remember her name, and it's one of the it's a pagan holiday. It's also one of the 8 Wiccan Sabbats. It's actually I think a newer one that was, I think, I think it came about like in the 60s or 70s, sometime in there. So it's more of a modern celebration, but it's that transition from, you had Litha in or Lammas, not Litha, but Lammas in August, the first of August. That's the first harvest festival. Now you have this one, and then Samhain or Halloween would be the third one. And but right now it's this transition into fall. The Holly King is reborn, and then the Oak King has died, and the Oak King will come back, and rule the spring and summer months, and the Holly King will rule the fall and winter months. And so there you go, something like that. But it's nice to have the apple is the fruit of Mabon, and so we have lots of apples on our trees where my husband is making juice, and he's making some wine, and then the rest of it I think we're going to make apple cider vinegar out of. So this is an apple time for us anyway. And so but yesterday we had a veggie plate that was all stuff from the garden, and so you got like a 5-day celebration of Mabon, but this is the actual day, so it mirrors the equinox and when the sun moves into Libra. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Check the blog over at Stepping Aside. The web address there is imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video. It'll open a box, and it's right there at the top. The forecast is out for the week. The correspondences for Work and Magic, if you're so inclined, is also out for the week. And then the write-up for this, the reading note write-up for this will be up. And then again on Thursday when we do this all over again, I'll do one then as well. So check that out if you would. And if you have not yet clicked subscribe, I hope you'll do that and come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.